Hello, everyone, and welcome to Your Cup of Joy. I'm your host, Ariana Joy Christie, and I am so glad that you are here. This is a space to inspire, to learn, to grow, and to challenge. Get ready to fill your cup and spread a little joy along the way. Sara Wells, wardrobe stylist and influencer, welcome to Your Cup of Joy.
I'm so excited to be here. I love it.
Yay! Thanks. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited that you're here too. I think we were introduced to like years ago when I first started sharing my life online, and you were introduced to me and recommended to check you out because I just had so many questions about the world of influencing. I was so lost. I didn't know anything at all. I didn't even know what a media kit was
Yeah.
and knew nothing about content creation. And you were so open and loving to sharing. Like no question was too much for you, and you were so responsive. So
No, I
thank
have
you
zero
for that.
filter. I have zero filter going at like talking to people and then like anyone asking me anything, I'm like, no filter. Ask
I
anything.
love it. I love it so much because it just made me feel so much more comfortable, asking questions and just understanding this world. So, can you share with us a little bit about how you got into influencing?
Yeah. First of all, I love sharing everything with anyone. I always say I'm like, this is like a multi-billion-dollar industry. Like gatekeeping is not necessary.
Yeah.
It's not. Like, especially for like people starting out, if they have questions, like it's not that they're asking specific, like, can I get this exact thing? And like they barely know you, can I get this exact content? Like that's different. Whereas like if they're asking like, how do I start? Like, what are some good PR agencies? Like there's
Mhm.
so many questions that I love answering. And I know a lot of people, it used to be a very like secretive industry. Like I feel like no one would like talk about anything. Now people are talking about it more, but it's still, I still find some people are a little gatekeepy, and I'm just like, not here,
I
not
love
here.
it.
Yeah. I feel like how I got started, I was always posting photos of my outfits, like literally on my digital camera onto Facebook before. I think I joined Instagram in like 2013. Like it was kind of late. I think it came out in like 2011, 2012, something like that, maybe a bit earlier. But because I didn't have an iPhone for the longest time.
Mm.
So yeah, I would take pictures on my digital camera and I would post them to Facebook, my outfits. And then finally I got Instagram, moved over that way, took pictures with my iPhone. And then I've just basically been posting consistently since 2013. And it was fun because I was in fashion school at the time too. So it's like I was always dressed up all the time, like every single day for school.
Amazing.
Um, yeah, I was like very like no sweatpants and leggings. Now I'm just like, leggings, sweatpants. They're in style. They're in
They
style.
are.
Athleisure is a thing. But yeah, so I was doing that for years, and then it wasn't until around like 2015, 2016, I started getting some like small shop giftings.
Mm.
And then I did not get my first, I didn't even know you could get paid and do brand collabs. Like I kind of just like accidentally fell into a little bit. I knew about like bloggers and stuff like that. But yeah, I kind of fell into it, and then around late 2018, I got my first paid campaign, and I'm just like, what? I can get like money for this. This is crazy.
Mhm.
And then it's kind of just like taken off from there, doing like paid campaigns, getting PR, going to PR events and stuff like that. And like I think it's weird because like I didn't really, my platform is it's very much been a slow growth. I've never had anything really like pop off, go viral, like super fast growth, which like there's obviously pros and cons to it. Like, yeah, it'd be
Mhm.
nice to have like 100,000 followers and like have an agency and all that stuff. But also I have a very engaged community, which is nice. And like I've been able to kind of like slowly learn as I go, and I wasn't like thrown into anything.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's definitely like one way to go, whereas like some people, like you can't really control your videos going viral. So like some people literally, they just pop off and then an agency immediately signs them. It's crazy how fast that goes. So I can't relate
Mhm.
quite as much with that. But as far as like, I feel like it's like going the old fashioned way a little bit, but like yeah, it's been a slow but steady growth, but like there's a lot of positives to it too.
Yeah, that's amazing. I find too when it's more slower and steady, it's people who actually want to be
Yeah.
there. It's not people who are there because they want to be negative towards you. So I think
Yes,
there's
exactly.
beauty in that for sure, in people actually
Mhm.
wanting to follow you for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's incredible. And you
100%.
talked a little bit about numbers too, because I think a lot of
Mhm,
people think in influencing it's all about numbers and how many
mhm,
followers you have and all of that in order to get like paid partnerships or
mhm.
different campaigns. And I think you were just so loving and kind to me when I started because it wasn't actually about that. And you were very clear that it's not all about followers.
Mhm.
So, can you share a bit about how you find or what brands are actually looking for and how you can make yourself
Yeah.
stand out to brands without just being like, oh, I have 200,000 followers?
I think I think good brands and good PR agencies will see the value in a smaller creator. There's unfortunately there's where there's good, there's bad. There's a lot of like
Mm,
brands and agencies that are like, "Oh, we only accept people at like this cutoff, like this number." It's like that's not anyone can go and buy their followers. Like it's people are still doing it. People are buying like
true.
people are buying shares because you can see shares now on Instagram, and I'm just like, you can quickly do the math and be like, okay, how many views does this video have versus the likes and shares and comments? Like it's kind of easy to find out, but like again, where
Wow.
there's like great agencies and brands, there's like bad ones. But I feel like as far as like making yourself stand out when you're a smaller creator, I think just like the authenticity goes a long way.
Mm,
And I think just like having a personality too. I always described it to people as like there can be two influencers that are the same amount of likes, follows, whatever, same niche, like say they're both fashion influencers or whatever, but like if I'm going to choose to work with one who maybe this person posts their personality, they post stories, they're engaging, and this other person it's like, yeah, it's cool and it's like great images and stuff like that, but it's like you maybe don't have a personality or presence, you're not showing yourself really on there, like I would pick the person who is like outgoing and personality wise, like way
mm,
more. And there's like shyer people that are like content creators, but I'm always like, get on stories, like do reels. You kind of have to go. Obviously, Instagram's changed so much in the last few years. Like they really only brought stories out like 8 years ago.
yeah,
Like
that's
only I
crazy
think in
to think.
2016 it came out, and it's just like
Yeah.
that was a game changer, and then Reels is a game changer. Like and I know a lot of people they still will like miss the old Instagram where they're just posting photos, but it's like photos don't show your personality as much as they could have. And it's like people want that connection. Like,
Hmm.
especially I found after the like kind of like COVID era of things, like people
Yeah.
want that genuine connection and brands want to see that too. Like they want to see well, first they want to see you like using their products and stuff like that, but like talking about it is just so much more than just posting a picture. Like I think of even like
Mhm.
the first like campaigns that I did were just like static photos. I'm like, wow, like the reels that I'm doing are way better and they show the products and stuff way more than like just a photo did.
Agreed. Like,
Photo
it
and
used to be
caption.
like, "Oh, just smile with the you
Yes.
know?
I had a creator friend, she was, like, posting some of her old campaigns, I'm like, "This is so interesting to see because we all were kind of in that era where we're literally just posting with a product, and we're like, "What even was this?" Like,
Yes.
it was
Yeah.
again, you just it's whatever is with the times,
Mhm.
and you just like, everything's constantly changing, but yeah, it seems, like, so weird, but again, we all look back at our old content, and we're like, "Wow, that was horrible." Like, I look at, like,
Yeah.
even my videos from 2 years ago, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, my editing was horrible." I was using, like, selfie camera. I'm like, "What is this?" Like, it's so awkward, and, like but you don't get to, like, that growth without, like, starting somewhere.
Yeah, true, and I think that's a good take home is that, like,
Yeah.
even if you feel like it's a little cringe or you feel
Yeah.
like, maybe this isn't gonna be it, you have to start somewhere,
Yeah.
and
It's
there's
always
no
you're always
harm.
gonna feel cringe. You're always gonna feel cringe. It's always gonna feel weird. Like, I especially have like I have a lot of like family and friends who like are not in the content space at all. Like, and even like explaining stuff to like people who just like are not on social media or whatever. Like, it feels like cringy and it feels weird when I'm like showing them a video. I'm like, well, this is what I do or whatever, and it's just like you just have to embrace the cringe.
Agreed. I definitely agree with that. You also have incredible fashion. Like, every time I see you, I'm like, "Oh, like, how did you think to put that together?" And it looks like that. Like, I'm obsessed. It's amazing. Um, but the fashion space in influencing is so competitive. So what
Yeah.
challenges do you face as an influencer in the fashion industry, especially when it comes to standing out in this competitive
Mhm.
space?
I think there's almost different tiers. Like there's people who
Mm,
are more into like the high-end fashion. I'm like, you know what? Like as much as I love and appreciate it, like that's not realistic for me. Like I cannot
mhm.
afford to buy all of that stuff.
Literally.
So there's like that tier, and then there's kind of like this like mid tier where there's like a little bit more expensive stuff. Like people are shopping at like I don't know, I want to say like Nordstrom Holtz, like around like that
Mm,
area, or even like all of the like the Revolve, like all the Revolve girlies and stuff like that. I'm like, it's not affordable to me.
Mhm.
And I think it's just finding your community that is in that niche.
Mm.
I love all the stuff on like Revolve, Princess Polly, stuff like that, but it's like if they're not sending me stuff, I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it. I'm a thrifty girl, and I think it's just been finding my niche, which is like the affordable stores, doing a little bit of thrifting. Like I get
Mhm.
like some nice stuff gifted or whatever, but I'll like mix it in.
Mm.
And I found in the last like the last few years is like really I was finding my style again after like having a child. That's all in itself. But also finding like I'm like, okay, what is my niche? Like I don't want to go to a store, buy all this stuff and then return it. Like that seems very disingenuous.
Mm.
So I've just been really working hard on styling the things I already own. I utilize Pinterest so much for outfit inspiration and I'm like, you know what? If I'm in the same reel like 5 times in a month using the same skirt, that's great because guess what? Like things are so unaffordable for everyone. Like as much as we all want to be like the cutie girls who are shopping at Revolve and stuff like that or shopping high end, that's not realistic. We can't even afford houses.
Yeah.
Like groceries are so expensive. So it's like
Yes.
I feel like the majority of people and especially the people that follow me, like I feel like my main age bracket is like 25 to 35,
Mhm.
maybe a little bit younger. But yeah, like we can't afford anything. Like why are we constantly buying new things? And same with people who do like I know some great girls who do like a ton of like Amazon links and stuff like that. They're always
Mm.
linking Amazon. I'm like, I feel like I can't even link that much stuff because I'm not buying it. B, like again, we only have like so much money to spend. So I've really
Yes.
just been trying to like niche into like that, okay, let's shop your own closet. Like here's like yes, I thrifted like this sweater or this pair of jeans, XYZ, but like here's a similar pair. Like here's
Mm.
oh, you probably have something like this in your closet. And I've like got a bunch of DMs from women who are like, hey, I own something similar to this. Like, would you style it with this? Like I think
Oh,
it's
I love.
just I think it's just more realistic for like the everyday woman or person just like shopping your closet like getting I basically want like my outfit ideas to be like okay you probably own something like this.
Mhm. I think that's amazing because we are in such a time of consumerism, and I
Yeah.
actually just after school pickup yesterday was chatting
Mhm.
with a mom about how we don't really talk about finances,
Yeah.
and because we don't talk about it, we don't have any information about smart spending
Yeah.
or how to be in control of your money,
Mhm.
and money is just this topic that's like a hush hush, like, don't talk about it,
So they didn't
but
teach us
then
anything in school. They didn't teach
literally
us anything in
nothing,
school.
and so many people's parents like, my parents didn't talk to me about it, so,
Yeah, a
like,
lot of
how
people
do you
still don't.
know?
Mhm.
Especially as women, and
Yeah.
then we're just thrown in our face with information of buy this, you need this will make you happier, do this and it will feel good. And it becomes this like commonplace thing to just purchase something on Amazon every day or to
Yeah.
just, buy a latte every day for $8. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, so how do I keep up? I see these fashion influencers. I want to look like them. I want to wear
Mhm.
that. I feel like I've lost my style. How do I find it back? But do I have to spend thousands of dollars?
Yeah. Like,
And so I love that.
I try and keep it, like, a happy medium because it's, like, I do still like I like my sweet treats, like, I like buying, like, something
Yeah,
like, I like buying, like, a couple pieces to my wardrobe every season, but it's, like, first, I always try and, like I'm a huge thrifter, so I always am, like I'm trying to, like, thrift certain things too, but
smart.
and it's it's also just, it's like I talk about it with my husband too. I'm like, I don't wanna live like obviously, we don't wanna live beyond our means right now, but we also wanna still have fun. Like, we're still young. Like, we're in our 30s, like, we wanna enjoy, we wanna travel, so it's, like, finding that happy medium, and then I've also
Mm.
been trying to find that happy medium in, like, what I'm, like, purchasing and yeah, like, what new things that I'm buying because I found that, like again, I found that there was a change, like, pre-pandemic versus post-pandemic. Like, we had all this stuff and nowhere to wear it. And I found myself like trying to buy something new for every single event and every single whatever was going on. It's like, that's not realistic. Like, I
Mhm.
know, like, again, I know a lot of influencers, they'll have like brand new fancy outfits for every event and stuff like that. But it's just like, it's not realistic to the general public. And like, yes, I value the opinions of influencers, but I value the opinions of like my community much more because it's like,
Yes.
yes, other influencers are great, they're coworkers, etc., but it's like they're not my focus on who I'm posting content for.
Mhm. I love that, and I think that it's important to know your audience, and I
Yeah.
think that that's something that you do such a good job of, and probably
Mhm.
why you have such engaged people and people who like
Mhm.
to follow you because they can actually have access to your opinion. Like, when you
Yeah.
say that people message you and say, like, "What can I style this with?"
Yeah.
It's
And I
not,
love
like,
that.
common to get a response from someone who you're watching their style influence, so I
Mhm.
think that's so incredible that you do that. You're also a wardrobe stylist with Urban Planet. So cool. I love watching your style videos. I feel like you said this too, like after like being postpartum after having a baby, like your
Mhm.
style changes. You almost kind of like I feel like I lost who I was.
Yeah.
Who am I? I don't know how to dress myself. Like I dress my
Yeah.
3 kids and then
Well,
I
and you
look in
had
my
babies in the
closet.
pandemic too, like, they were
Yeah.
2021, right? So I think there was just, like it was almost like everyone loses their style after pregnancy, your body is crazy, like, et cetera, but then it's like, we also
Mhm.
had the pandemic where we're like, "Okay, we can't do anything, we're just buying sweats." Like, I spent so much
Yeah.
money at Aerie, like, buying
Yeah.
comfy clothes,
Same.
there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just like, I feel like I didn't even know what to do, what to dress for. It wasn't until I started going back to work where I'm just like, okay, I feel like I have a bit more of a purpose for like how I'm like dressing and stuff like that. I was not again, and I don't know whether to blame the pandemic for it, but I just wasn't one of those moms that like got up, did their makeup, got dressed every day. Like I see moms do that. I'm like, that's incredible. I just was a little depressy, but also
Yeah.
we couldn't do
Same.
anything and life was weird and
Yeah.
you didn't have access to mom groups. That was just, it was a whole nother thing, but it was, again, I feel like maybe my experience if I had another kid would be different. So,
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. I think that plays a huge role into it.
mhm,
But I do think it's very difficult for me now, and I don't know if it's because I had children or if because now I'm in my 30s or like
yeah,
what, but I just cannot keep up with the fashion trends. I find it so difficult. I feel like I don't know how to
mhm,
dress myself. How do you keep up with these fast-paced moving trends because you do such a good job of it?
mhm. One, I'm chronically online. Um, but
Amazing.
that's the thing. I'm chronically online for like my like job with Urban Planet, and then I'm chronically online for like my job like that way. I genuinely do love it. I
Mm,
genuinely do love fashion. Like I love especially fall fashion. Like there's always new stuff coming out. TikTok
mhm.
is huge and it's very overwhelming like if people are looking for new fashion because there's a new thing coming up and same with new beauty trends, there's new things coming up every 5 minutes, so you
Yes.
kind of just have to take it all in stride. um but I find it is helpful like with my day job with Urban, like because we see stuff come in way before other stuff comes in, so I can see like, oh, here's
True.
like the little micro trends. I kind of pick and choose. I have to You can't buy into every single micro trend because they'll end up in the garbage. Like a lot of
Yeah.
micro trends are micro trends for a reason and it's like not sustainable,
Mhm.
but I try and pick and choose a couple that I'm like, okay, I really like this. Like the boxer short trend that came in
Mhm.
last year, I loved it. And I wore boxer shorts literally all summer. I loved learning how to style them. Like at first I was like, what is this? But then I tried it. I like bought one pair. I'm like, no, I actually really like this. Like I think
Mhm.
it's like it was at least a summer staple. Who knows if they'll be trending again for next year? Realistically, I'm probably still gonna wear them because again, they're comfortable. I think that was the big main seller too. I'm like, okay, at least if anything, if I don't like it, I can still use it again. It's comfy. It's comfy
Yes.
clothes.
Yeah.
So I tried to pick and choose which like micro trends that I buy into because again, if you buy into everything, you're just going to look like a walking TikTok page.
Agreed. And so is a micro trend something that, like, comes in for a short period of time and then leaves?
Yeah. And like some of them are like so fast. I think especially with like how especially with how fast like social media moves and everything like that, like
Yeah.
microtrends will just like come in, come out. Even with like beauty right now, like I'm seeing on TikTok there's like, "Oh, now we do our makeup based on like whether you have high contrast or low contrast." And it's like,
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
that
I can
I haven't
see
even had time to look into that. I'm like, I don't know. But
no.
it's with especially fashion and beauty trends, just things come and go so quickly. There's always like parenting trends too. Um,
True.
like
Very
just different
true.
ways to parent, different ways to do sleep training, different ways to do this. Like the trends always come and go. You just kind of have to choose like what you like or what works for you. And that kind of goes with like all of them. So I'll see like what micro trends are coming in and knowing that they probably won't last long. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to invest. Like ballet flats were huge. And it's like, okay, well,
Mhm.
flats come and go. Also, the trends always come back. So
That's fair.
if I had more of a closet space, I would keep more things. I do just end up like selling or donating a lot of stuff, but
Yeah.
because I try not to keep like a ton of stuff, but everything does come back. Like
That's
everything does.
true. It really does. Like, I remember being like, "Oh, bell bottoms will literally never come back," and now they're in. So,
And, like, skinny jeans were away for a while, but then now they're back. Cause like, honestly, because a few influencers on TikTok said they were cool, the fashion industry says they're cool, so it's like, I know, like, especially as millennials, we have, like, such a hold on, like, "No, we don't wanna change, we don't wanna do that." You don't have to, like, I at the end of the day, dress what makes you comfortable, dress how you want. I like working in the office that I work in, it's obviously a very fashion office, the girls are very stylish, so and everyone has different style, and I really love that because it's, like,
yeah.
not everyone is dressed the same. And I really like people just, like, having their own styles, and it's like, if you wanna wear something that's, like, out of style right now, go for it. You'll probably find a way to make it look cool.
Yeah, true. I think it's all about how you style it, I guess, which I'm terrible at. But I do wanna talk about skinny jeans because you saying that just made me remember I was getting ready for an event
Mhm,
last week, I think, and I was
mhm.
like, "Oh, I don't know what to wear." But I have these tall because this is my struggle is footwear. Like,
Yeah,
my feet grew during my pregnancies, so
mine did a
none of my
little
shoes
bit.
fit me.
Yeah,
So then it's like shoes are expensive. So you're investing in these
yeah,
pieces. So every few months I'll buy like a pair of shoes that I think is going to, last me a year or two and whatever. So I have these boots that I'm like, okay, these are fall boots. And me being someone who just wears sweatpants all the time, looked back and I was like, "Oh, when I used to go out," which
yeah.
in my mind sounded like last year, but I think actually was pre-children, I would wear skinny jeans and put boots over top. So I thought it would be cute. And I had limited time to get ready, but I was set on this outfit and I went downstairs, I put the boots on and I was like, "Oh, I'm pretty sure this is like a fashion no. I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to do this." And I posted it on Instagram and so many people had heavy opinions about it. So many people were
Really?
like, "Just do what you want, like wear it." I still wear skinny jeans with boots, and other people were like, "No, no, no, like that is a no-go. You have to put your boots under your jeans and you have to wear like a little bit looser jeans." And I was like, "I'm lost." So, what do you think about skinny jeans? How are you supposed to know what you're supposed to do? Where are the trends posted? There should be like a dictionary.
I always look on TikTok. If I look what I will go on TikTok and Pinterest for style inspo, and if I wanna know, like, how to style a certain item or if I'm like, "Oh, I'm really stuck," I'm like, I will search, and then I'll see, like, outfit inspo that comes up,
Mm,
and usually especially on TikTok, Pinterest is not as it's not always necessarily as relevant because like, Pinterest has, like, content from, like, forever ago, but TikTok is usually pretty, like the SEO on TikTok is insane. Like,
mhm,
it's better than Google, like, you can search something and you'll find it, like, immediately.
mhm,
So if you want help styling something like that, I would say go right to TikTok. Like right now, I found better jeans that fit for my body. I think that's the difference. There are some girls that look really good in skinny jeans, and some
mm,
people that just like they look better in other styles. I found this one style of jeans that like I have a few pairs of jeans, but like this one style from Dynamite, and I just every time I try and buy a new pair of jeans, I go back to Dynamite and like this style looks the best on me.
ah,
So I think a huge thing too is the confidence because I was gonna say I saw your friend Renee post.
mhm.
So she had posted a couple times and she's like, I don't even know if this looks good, blah, blah, blah. And she looks great. And I'm just like, I commented because I think she put it in a reel or a photo. I'm like, all you need is the confidence. That is the only thing that you're lacking because I'm like, you
Ah,
look good and you're second guessing yourself. And the way that you carry yourself and the confidence in what you're wearing, it's a huge game changer. It's the same thing.
mm,
It's like if we have a bad hair day, it feels like we're gonna have a bad day. It's the
true.
same as an outfit. It's like, you know what, if you don't feel good in it, if your body doesn't feel good in it, change. But it's like if you're like kind of questioning yourself and you like think you're like, okay, I think this looks good, but like you don't have that confidence, like you just need to have that confidence and it just like boom, game changer. And I noticed that in like my old styling videos too. I'm just like, I have so much more confidence now than I did then. And I don't know if it's like, I don't really know what that change was. I think it was just like getting better at like doing the videos and everything like that. But like my videos now, they just look like they have so much more confidence exuding from them. And it
Mm.
like makes the outfit look better.
It's amazing. And
Mhm,
I think you do show up as a confident person too,
mhm.
especially when sharing your style, and I think it must be because you're sure of it. It's something that you're good at.
Yeah.
It's something that you obviously enjoy to do, and I think
Mhm,
that that just really shows through when you're doing
mhm.
that. Do you think that personal style can really impact confidence?
I think it definitely can. Like if so every single outfit I always pick it out the night before because I know I'm not a
Smart.
morning person. I get stressed out and I have to try on the outfit. Even if I've like worn it a bunch of times before, I'm like, let's try on, make sure everything looks good. Like it's very Like I always do it the night before because I've tried to get dressed in the morning. I'm just like, no, it ends up being like rushed. I'm stressed.
Yeah,
Something's wrong. There's a hole in something. So I think that also really helps with like feeling
genius.
good in the outfit. I know that it's going to look good. And then that morning, I'm like, okay, I know my outfit's going to be a sleigh.
That's amazing because sometimes I'll create an outfit in my head of what I know I have in my closet, and I try it on, and it is not it. You know, it looks different in your mind
I
than it
don't trust
looks on.
myself in the morning. I just don't trust myself in the morning. I'm like, no, like
Yeah,
I'm like, I know I'm good at styling. I know everything, but it's just like until you like see it too. And obviously, and our body changes so many times a
right.
month too. Like we're like period, bloated, whatever. So it's just like something you feel good in a week ago, you might not feel as good in. So it's like,
That's so
even though
true.
it's like it fits and you know that it's good, it's like just try it on. And that's why I tell everyone, I'm like, try on your outfits the night before.
Mhm,
Especially
genius.
if you have any sort of, like, really, like, important where you're just like, "Oh, yeah, I really care about this outfit, I care about this meeting," whatever, like, just do
Mhm.
it in advance.
It's a really good tip. I think for someone who's maybe struggling with confidence and style, because I
Mhm.
think they do go together, but when you're
Yeah.
really not sure of either of them, what's one piece of advice you can give for those people?
That's hard because it's yeah, like, if you're struggling with because I've gone through those phases where you're, like, struggling with confidence or, like, body confidence or anything like that.
Mhm.
I do always look for creators that I find, like, either the same body type is really helpful, like, if you're looking especially if you're on TikTok, you can literally look for, like, size whatever creators, and, like,
Oh,
you'll see what they're putting on their bodies, and that's super helpful because
smart.
you can just see and like, "Oh, wow, she looks like me." Because if we're looking at like, if we're looking at all the girls or all the models who are like the same size, yes, they're amazing and they look great, but it's like something like that is not necessarily going to translate to a body that's a different size. And that's
Yeah,
just how it is. That's how the fashion industry is. Like
yeah.
there's priorities with like smaller sizes being on like e-commerce sites and stuff like that. And that's fine. That's just how it is. But I am thankful to like places like TikTok or Instagram where you can find like, okay, this like size style. Because
Mhm.
yeah, with being a woman, a lot of the confidence comes from how we feel about our bodies. And it's not
Yeah,
necessarily just like the outfit and stuff like that. And it
that's
sucks,
so
but
true.
I feel like that is just kind of how it is. That's anytime I felt like self-conscious or anything, it's always like, oh, I'm just like not having a good body day. Like I'm just not feeling like great about myself. I feel bloated, feel whatever. My skin's
Mhm.
not great. So I feel like if you're kind of feeling that way and you're like not sure about style, I would like purposely seek out like influencers or just like not even influencers, just people who are making videos on TikTok or Instagram that are like kind of in your similar size and like it helps the process a little bit more.
Agreed. I'd really like when websites have, people of different sizes and it'll say, like, their height or
Yes.
their weight or their size, because
Yeah.
then you can look and see, like, what will that look like on me?
Yeah.
Because 'Cause you're right, it's one thing to see it on a model who's posed in a certain way, but then
They're
to really
always
think
gonna look
about.
good.
Yes,
And I think
always.
that's the thing, like, I work in that industry, like, I work with models every single day, like, even if I'm not styling on set, I'm doing something else, like, they look good in everything. Like,
Yeah,
it is a known fact, and, like, I, like, used to be in a smaller sized body, like, I there was nothing that looks, like, bad on me, whereas now it's like, okay, I'm in a different size body, like, I've been in, like, multiple different size bodies with, like, having a kid, pre-kid, whatever, all this stuff,
mhm,
but yeah, it's just, like, finding what, like, works for you, because again, back to the skinny jeans thing, like, were they the best fit on me compared to like other jean fits that I've tried? I'm like, no, like you just kind of have to find like what works better for you and what like just what makes you feel good. I think that's the thing.
mhm.
It's not even saying like, oh, you can't wear this, oh, you can't wear that. It's like if you feel good in it, wear it. Like
Yeah.
I don't feel the best in certain things, so I will like wear other things.
You're so right, because sometimes when I'll go to, an event, I'll try on 2 different
Mhm,
dresses, and one I might think is cuter, but I don't
mhm,
feel comfortable in, and I just
mhm.
know I'm gonna enjoy my night more if I feel
Yeah.
comfortable, if I feel good, and then I
Mhm.
think you really do look better. It's not actually about the
Yeah.
dress, it's about you in the dress.
Well, and it's like if I was going to an event and I was on my period, am I gonna wear a white dress? No, I'm gonna be stressing all night. I like
Literally.
you catch me in dark bottoms only.
Yeah,
Like that is it, dark bottoms, and like and then I won't be worried. I will be so much more confident because if I was like walking around in like a white dress or white pants, I would be stressed out the whole night and be like,
yeah,
okay, I
freaking
know
out.
this looks good. I know this outfit is great, but like I'm stressing.
Yes, agreed, agreed. So how did you get into fashion? Because you said you went to fashion school. Was this
Yeah.
something that you always liked? Was it something you always knew that you would do? How did that happen
Yeah,
for you?
like, I feel like it was, like, always kind of a thing. Obviously, like, high school is so frustrating because 'cause they're like, "Here, pick a career," and you're 18 and you're like, "Oh, yeah, you can do this for this." You're like, not realistic.
Not at all.
But I was like, I remember being, like, super young, like grade 5 or something like that, and like learning to hand sew and like making like outfits for like my sister's Build-A-Bears and stuff like that. Like I
Oh,
always love fashion. I'm pretty
so
sure my mom
cool.
fought me on like everything because I always tried to wear like weird weird stuff, but you know what? It was just like a little fashionista coming out. And then
Fun.
when I was in high school, I took like fashion classes and I just really liked it. And then you get into that like grade 11 where like, yeah, they make you pick a career. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I want to be, I literally picked something random. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll be a journalist. And I'm like, well, at least I love to yap. So that's accurate. But, and again, this was like before the years of like content creation is now like a full career.
Yep,
There's so many things that are careers, and there's so many industries that have changed too,
very much.
just with technology at the times. But yeah, so I took a year off after high school because I'm like, okay, I don't fully know what I want to do, and
Mhm.
then I went to Fanshawe College in London for it used to be called fashion merchandising, and now it's called fashion marketing and management. And I go back to
Cool.
like talk to the classes and stuff like that too, which is fun,
Oh,
about my experience like as an influencer and then also like in my fashion career. But
so
it was a
cool.
very broad, and it still is a very broad program. Like they cover like you want to be in merchandising, you want to be in buying, you want to be in styling. Like they kind of cover a lot of stuff, and they do more now. And it's crazy because like the program that I went to is probably different than now because they really used to prioritize like visual merchandising, whereas like that's still a job, like doing all the displays and window mannequins. And like I used to do that,
Whoa,
and it is
cool.
still a job, but like now it's just everything is like
Mm,
digital media influencing, marketing, PR. Like they I think they've really like kind of changed a little bit and like are covering more relevant topics even more so than they did back then. But yeah, I loved my time in school, and then I
aw,
basically worked my way up in different careers. Like I worked in retail management, and then I was a visual merchandiser, and then I got finally when I got out of retail and into the head office for Urban Planet. So the parent company is called YM Inc. and like Urban Planet's just one of the brands, but they have
mm,
like a bunch of different brands. But I started there as an assistant buyer
cool.
and I liked it, but I just wasn't passionate about it. Same with visual merchandising. Like I liked it, I just wasn't passionate about it. Like it was like fun. I was happy to do it. And then the styling job came up like after a couple years as an assistant buyer, and I'm like, okay, well, let's just try it.
Yeah.
And this it's also like those positions are like there's not very many styling positions where there's a lot of buying positions in companies.
Mhm.
And then I was stylist for a couple years, and then went on mat leave. And then when I came back, they needed a lot of help on the social side just because they had like no one at the time. So I joined the social team because I'm like, well, I guess I do this on myself, like by myself.
Yeah.
So I've worked on the social team for the past few years, but I'm a very like transferable person. So it's like if like last week they're like, oh, we need you on set. Like, can you style men's for the day? I'm like, okay, I'll style men's. Okay, I'll go and help with like steaming or like unpacking shipment, or it's like, okay, I'll go downstairs and like get some Instagram reels and TikToks. So it's kind of like I go to work and I'm like, okay, whatever needs to be done. And my boss
Amazing.
is like that too. She also worked a bunch of different positions in the company. So
Mm,
I feel like it's very handy for both of us because we're like, okay, if we need to get thrown somewhere, we can get thrown somewhere.
that's so nice, and
Yeah.
also I feel like makes it a little bit fun for you too, because it's not the same every day.
Yeah. No, I really like it. I also don't have to like currently run any social accounts. So it's like, because that's a whole nother thing. I literally am just
Yeah.
either creating content, or like obviously there's like a lot of other aspects. Like we're like planning for shoots, getting inspo
Mhm.
right now. We're hosting like an event and stuff like that. So there's always
Oh,
stuff
cool.
going on. And then there's like the styling side, which I love to do. And then being on campaign photo shoots, I'm either styling or I'm shooting social. So like we had a
Mm,
ton of campaign, all the Christmas campaigns, all the fall campaigns. So like I think I styled a couple. I think I was assistant styling for a couple. I think I was doing social for a few because there was a lot.
yeah, it
We
sounds
have a
like
lot of
it.
brands and there's a lot of campaigns.
Yeah,
So yeah, basically August through like October was like crazy with back to school and then Christmas campaigns. It was nuts.
totally. That
And then
makes sense
spring
for
starts
sure.
soon.
Oh my gosh, I can't even
Yeah.
imagine
We're
thinking
always
about that
working in
now.
it. It's always in advance. And like, especially, and if you're on the buyer side, you're working like they're already buying for next fall right now or next spring. I can't keep up. Yeah,
That's
you buy like
wild.
a year or a year and a half in advance. I can't remember.
Crazy, but I'm just
Yeah,
thinking
it's
now
weird.
that that definitely helps maybe your
Mhm. Oh, it totally
fashion
does.
style too, because you know the trends that are coming, you know things that
Yeah,
are coming up, and you're kind of ahead of that,
yeah.
especially online. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's definitely super helpful too. And then also like working for a fast fashion company, I can see all the trends that are coming in. I'm like, okay, again, what ones do I want to invest in? What ones am I like,
Mm,
okay, I don't really need that. Like again, everything's cute. I love everything. Like
yeah.
fashion makes me happy. Different trends and stuff coming in makes me happy. But just I'm able to be a little bit more like picky choosy.
That's
I feel like
amazing.
I feel like also being in my 30s, I have more restraint than in my 20s where I'm like, let's buy everything.
Literally. Yeah.
So it's a little
It
bit
is
easier
good to
that
have
way.
that mindset now.
Yeah. My frontal
Um,
was it your, like, frontal cortex is, like, fully developed now, and you're like,
yeah.
"Oh, I don't need all of that. Like,
Yeah.
let's save some money."
Yeah. It's a blessing
Yeah.
and also not as fun, I guess, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I want to switch gears a little bit and talk a bit about your relationship and being a mom. So your husband works
Mhm.
for an MLB team.
Yeah.
So he has a very demanding job and he travels very often, right?
Yes.
I don't even know how you manage because you guys have a daughter.
Yeah. It's
So how do you
comfy.
manage two jobs, parenting, and mostly solo? And also you volunteer.
Yeah, it's a lot. Honestly, I have always been like this. Like my parents always said growing up, they're like, "Don't spread yourself too thin." But I love being busy. Like
Oh yeah.
I genuinely love it, and like not to the point where I'm ever like, "Oh, look at me, I'm so busy." It's like, no, I just if I'm not busy, I get too much in my head, and like I don't like not having anything to do. Like I'm home by
Mhm.
myself today. Because my husband's working, my daughter's in school, but I'm like, I have this podcast and then I have to go downtown for a meeting. I'm like, that's good because I would just sit and rot in bed all day. And like mental health wise, like I know it seems like I get like super anxious and super hyperactive and everything like that when I'm like crazy busy, but I'm like the opposite side of that is just like no. So
Work. Yeah.
I like the busyness. I don't love the solo parenting aspect of it. It's a
Yeah.
lot and it's hard because like my parents live across the country, and
Oh,
Simon's parents and his sister and they're all great to help out, but they're 2 hours away. So it's like
oh
they'll
yeah.
like drive and meet us halfway, but it's like if they take her, they can't just take her for the day, so they're taking her for a few days. So it's like we have a village, but not anywhere close. And it's
Totally.
like I have a great babysitter. She's also not super close. Also, you're paying money too.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely it's very hard. And this was the first year where he was like traveling like a lot. So it was almost like a tester year where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you're gone for spring training for 2 months and then you're gone. He's basically gone for like a week every single month, essentially.
Crazy.
Depending on like the month. Like I think there's 1 month where he didn't have to travel. But yeah, it's a lot. So I definitely am
Yeah.
taking the advantage of like if I can come on the trips, I'm coming on the trips. I'm just like, you know what, that's the advantage of like kind of working like freelance essentially. Like with my like day job, I can kind of pick and choose my hours and they're good about that too.
Amazing.
Um and then like with obviously with myself, like I can take myself wherever, I can do content from
Mhm.
wherever. So I tried to like hop on a few trips and I'm like, you know what, Poppy's young enough. She's in
Yeah.
JK. I really don't care about taking her out of school. Like
Yeah.
I'm not taking her out for a month, taking her out for a few days. Like, what they're learning the alphabet. She knows the alphabet. They're fine. And
Yeah.
like
And she's gonna
my parents always took us out of school to travel too. Like even up until like high school, like they wouldn't take us out like monthly, but like I don't know. I see it as like if you're able to travel and like obviously do it affordably, which is
Mhm.
like the kind of the only way we're able to do this is like I'm hopping on his work trip.
Yeah.
Then it's like, you know what, take the chance and do it because like I don't know he's how long he's gonna work this job for. Like it could be
Yeah.
5 years, it could be 20 years. Like we we want to take the opportunities as we have them and like I want to take any perks that I get from like, okay, you're taking my husband, I'm taking a trip.
Yes, agreed. I also think that when you are able to provide that to your kids too, like it's such a
Yeah.
blessing that you get to do that. But
Yeah.
taking her out of school, yes, I understand like she's learning there, but I think she's learning life skills when she's traveling with you too.
She learned her numbers, not how to count, but she learned numbers by the baseball players' numbers, like on the backs of their jerseys. We'd be trying.
Stop. Oh,
It's
that's
so
so
cute. This little like
cute.
she was like 3 at the time. This little 3-year-old girl. We're like driving in the car, and she's like, "Mommy, that's number 36. That's David Schneider." I'm like, "Great."
Stop.
It's
That's
so funny. It's
amazing.
so funny because she's like, I think that's the thing too. It's like she genuinely loves it, and obviously she loves travel and stuff like
Oh,
that. So I think it's an invaluable experience that not everyone gets to give to their like kids and stuff like that. Because again, it's an expensive thing to do. Like
totally.
hotels are absorbently expensive, and like I would. If I did not go on my husband's work trip, I would not be going on these trips and paying
Yeah.
that. And then you're paying for flights and stuff like that. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a benefit for him being away all the time.
Yeah. Totally, for sure. And I think that's so nice that you can kind of just hop onto that. What are you so sometimes when I have to do solo parenting by myself, especially at bedtime, like if my husband has a
Mhm.
listing appointment or he's out or away or something like that,
Mhm.
I literally feel like I've just completed a marathon when all 3
Yep.
kids are asleep. It's so much for one person. What are some strategies or routines that you've found helpful in keeping things running smoothly at home, especially when your partner's away?
Bribery. I'm not against bribery. I'm like, "Okay, all right,
Yeah.
if you're good, we'll do this tomorrow," or like
Yeah.
I feel like it was like that with potty training, it's like that with
Mhm.
literally everything. I think it's constant bargaining
Yeah.
because you can only be authoritative so much or you can only be permissive, whatever, so much. It's like sometimes you literally have to say, "If you do this, you can get this," or "If you don't do this, I will have to take this away."
Yeah.
So a lot of that. I can't even say we ever really get in a routine. I think this year, her being in school is the most routine it's ever been. But I think she's pretty good with like just being having a random life. Like she really does. She probably will never have parents that work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Like
Yeah.
it's not realistic. And like to be fair, like Simon and I, we never had that either. But one of both of our
Oh,
parents, like we each like his mom and my dad, they both work shift work. So it's like we never really had that like fully normal like 9 to 5 like we did mostly,
yeah.
but like Poppy probably won't have that. But I think that's like she has other benefits. Like what other kid can like say on her birthday she went to like batting practice for the Blue Jays?
Literally.
You
Like,
know,
that's
so
pretty
it's like
awesome, yeah.
I think again there's always those takeaways. So we had like a bit of a bedtime routine and stuff like that. So I try and keep like those little things normal. But yeah, I honestly some days I was just trying to get through the day.
It's
Was
valid. I'm totally
just
there.
trying to do whatever I could to get through the day, and I am very much I will never judge another parent for whatever they're doing because it's like we are all just trying to keep tiny humans alive, and like that's what me.
Literally.
My one sister-in-law, she is like she has kids, and like she's one of my best friends, and we like would talk all the time. And she has kids that are a couple of her kids are my daughter's age, so we would like text each other and be like, "All right, we kept the tiny humans alive today. That's all that matters."
Yeah.
I
I
think at
think
the
that's
end of
such
the
a good
day,
message too, to just be, like, gracious with yourself and have lower expectations. Like, sometimes we think things have to be done in a certain way. We all have
yeah,
to sit at the table and have dinner together every
hmm
night, and everyone has to stay still for this many minutes so that we can complete our meal. Like, that's not always realistic, especially
yeah,
when there's activities or other things going on.
hmm
So, yeah, lower expectations and just be gracious with
yeah.
yourself.
And, like, at the end of the day, I think every single mom probably feels like a bad mom at the end of the day. Like, I think
Yes.
it's just, like I think it's ingrained in us, and I don't know what it is because I don't think dads are feeling like a bad dad at the end of the day.
No,
I
they're
don't
not.
understand it, but, like, we're all just doing the best that we can.
Yeah,
And, like, you know what? As long as the kid is fed and in bed, I think that's all that matters sometimes, and it's like and
yeah.
she could think it was a great day. I could think it's a horrible day, and then Poppy could be like, "Oh, yeah, it was such a great day." Like, sometimes they just don't know. They don't know the difference. They're like, "Oh, I got to, like, play with my toys today. Awesome."
It's so true. I think sometimes we're like honestly, I think some of it is social media and also, like,
100%.
comparison and seeing, like,
100%.
"Oh, this mom created this, like, homemade activity that was so much fun for their kids."
Yeah.
But sometimes our kids literally just want us to sit on the floor with them and do whatever they're
Yeah.
doing. And
Yeah.
that might be the best day. Like, so every morning when my kids wake up, I say,
Mhm.
like, "How did you sleep?" They say, "Good," usually. And I say, "What did you dream about?" And 99% of the time, it's about mommy and daddy playing with them.
Oh, that's so cute.
And so it really does bring it home that, like, you don't have to do these extravagant things. Like, sometimes playing with a dollar store Hot Wheel on the floor for
Yeah.
20 minutes with your child is gonna make their day more than going to, whatever
Yeah.
crazy activity that you're paying hundreds of dollars to go to is.
Exactly. And I think that there's like, especially when you're solo parenting, there's things you just have to cut corners on. And my one thing that I cut corners on, we don't have a dishwasher. We've been in this
Oh,
house for 7 years. We don't have a dishwasher. It's rough. My husband is the dishwasher. When he goes away, I buy a huge box of the wooden knives, forks,
genius.
spoons,
Mhm.
and I buy a bunch of paper plates. And I'm like, nope, the least amount of dishes that are happening are happening. Like,
Yeah.
especially because like she doesn't eat a lot of meals. It's a lot of snacks, charcuterie type things, like
Yes.
toast, peanut butter on a spoon. Those are like beige foods. Those are her main things.
Yep.
So that is my one thing where I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I'm eco-friendly enough in other ways. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm getting paper plates. They're not plastic. It's fine.
Yeah.
Getting paper plates, and we're using that for the next X amount of time. And then when he comes home, or whether like my mom flies in to come and help me, they know, like, whoever is coming in to help me, either my mom flies in or if my mother-in-law's here, whatever, or Simon's here, they know, like, that is my thing. I'm like, dishes, I can't.
Yep.
I cannot. So that is my main shortcut and my one little point of sanity that I need, that I just need while he's away.
But I think that's so good that you know that. Like, if you know that you
Mhm,
hate to do that, like, how can
mhm.
you make it so that you don't have to?
Yeah.
And that is so okay. Like, we sometimes
Mhm.
just force ourselves to think that it's not okay. Like, I
Yeah.
have to, scrub the baseboards. I have to make sure that I'm
Yeah.
mopping the floor this many times a week. And it's like, okay, is somebody gonna be hurt if we don't do that this week? Like,
That's
no.
my ball that's dropped. Like I don't have, like, I have to care about my kid, I have to care about my job, about my marriage, about whatever, like all this stuff, friends. It's like
Mhm.
the ball that gets dropped is my house is like, it's tidy, but it's like I don't want to look at my baseboards. That's horrifying. Like I'll try and do a deep clean like maybe once or twice a month, but I'm like, I'm just sitting here waiting on that, like, the girls that have like the house cleaning services that come in and they're like hosted or whatever. I'm like, where's a Vaughn house cleaning service that wants to come? I don't do a lot of stuff for free. I will post so much for free. Like, you
There
want a
you go.
reel,
You
you
heard it
want
here.
photos, like I will do that. So anyways, that is my one ball that gets dropped. I'm like, you know what? We don't have like the cleanest house. We'll keep it tidy, but I'm like,
Who cares?
I cannot vacuum like 3 times a week. That is my ball that gets dropped, and I I think I paid for a house cleaner, I think, once, and I'm like, I need to do that again.
It is such a good treat, and I guess, like, at the end of the day, if that's the ball that's getting dropped, that's a good ball to drop because really nobody is
Exactly.
getting hurt.
It's
Yeah,
not it's not a it's not a human, it's not a dog, it's not a job. Like, if
yeah,
that's what gets dropped, that's what gets dropped.
yeah. I love that. I have to practice that a little bit more because sometimes I'm really hard on myself when the house is messy, and I'm like, "Why
Mhm.
can't I just keep it clean?" But it's difficult.
Mhm.
I wanna switch gears a little bit too and talk a bit about self-care because this
Mhm.
podcast was started to really just open up the conversation about self-care, prioritize,
Mhm.
spending time doing things that you love because
Yeah.
it helps us show up as a better version of ourself.
Mhm.
I think when I became a mom, I thought I had to dedicate my life to my kids, and
Mhm.
everything that I loved was off the table now because that was, like, the right and noble thing to do as a mother.
Yeah.
And I quickly learned that that was not the case because I was not the best version of myself by any means.
Mhm.
And then you start to resent things, and you just it's a never-ending cycle that's really terrible.
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite way to practice self-care? And is self-care something that you prioritize? Is it something that's top of mind for you?
I think it's funny because I think a lot of people think self-care is like it's like going and getting a massage or something like that. And that's I think that's the thing. Everyone's self-care is different. My
Yeah.
self-care, it's mostly around my mental health, and I'm actually going there tonight. It's at the dog rescue. So I've been there, Dog Trailer Rescue, shameless plug. I've been there for 6.5 years,
Oh
six and a
my
half years
gosh.
around there. That is my one place. There's barely cell phone service. So it's like I can have my camera out to take pictures of the dogs, but it's like I'm there for about 4 hours. It's like I don't have to focus on anything else other than the dogs.
Amazing.
And that's where, and you're outside the whole time, outside in
Oh.
all seasons. I spent my entire pregnancy there, even though it was COVID. They like had canceled all the volunteers. They let like 4 of us stay because I'm just like,
Oh.
4 of us have been there a while and stuff like that. And we're able to work with non-volunteer dogs. So that was like, and I had people say like, there's like, oh my gosh, why are you still doing this during COVID? I'm like, for my sanity, because this is my form of therapy. This is my form of like helping with my mental health. I noticed that even if I'm away for more than a week, like if I haven't been for more than a week, like I just get like a little too like wound tightly,
Mhm.
because it's like I'm outside for 4 hours, like sun, rain, shine, whatever, snow. And I think especially when you're doing something that's so like, you need to be focused completely on that. You cannot be distracted. Like, some of the dogs that I'm walking, they're not good with other dogs. They're not whatever. Like, some of them are super easy, but like, there's a million people with dogs all around you. You have to be focused the whole time. And I think
Mhm.
that's the one place I can actually turn off my brain. I'm not worried
Mhm.
about like Simon's got Poppy. Like, I'm not worried about any sort of work stuff, whatever. Like, I can just go there and focus on the dogs, and that's it. So that's my form of self-care, my main form. And then
Amazing.
my other form is just like taking a walk through home sense.
I
Like,
love it.
sometimes you just need to go and you're just like, "I just need to look at pretty things."
Equally as important.
Yes.
Oh, I love that, and I really do love what you said because I have really found that since starting this podcast is that self-care
Mhm.
really does look different for everyone,
Yeah.
and I think we have to get out of the mindset of thinking it should look a certain way or we
Yeah.
should want to do certain things,
Mhm.
um, and really realizing that it doesn't have to be a full day. It doesn't have to, take time away from work. It doesn't have to cost money even. Like
Mhm.
sometimes it's just drinking your coffee hot alone in silence.
Yeah.
Other times it's being with people. Like for so long I think I was told that I should want time away from my kids. Like, "Oh,
Mhm.
you should have some alone time. You should do
Yeah.
things by yourself." I'm like, "The only things I wanna do by myself are shower and pee." Like, that's the time I don't want my children touching me, but
Yeah.
apart from that, I wanna be with my kids. Like, helpful to me is not taking my kids away from me for a park date, it's having me come
Mhm.
with you. Like, I want to experience those things with them, and so I
Yeah.
think getting away from the things that we should want from society telling us or other people
It's
telling
like
us.
we're all different people, we all want different things.
Totally, and it's okay. In fact, it's
Mhm.
good. It's what makes us our unique selves, and focusing on what really does make you feel good is so important. I
Yeah.
really, really believe that.
Well, and, like, when I came back from mat leave, the whole reason why I went part-time at work was, was because I didn't wanna give up something. I'm like, "I don't wanna give up content creation, I don't wanna give up, like, time with my daughter, and I didn't wanna give up dog tails because I know," I'm like, "that is my key to my good mental health." And, like, I can go there and, like, I won't maybe necessarily have maybe it'll be, like, a sad day there, whatever. It's like, that is still therapy for me. So I'm
Mhm.
like, that is one thing I don't wanna give up because I'm like, I know that you can only take on so many things. So it's like
Yeah.
that's one thing I've really prioritized, and that's one of the balls where I'm like, I don't wanna drop this one because that I know is like obviously, yeah, I'm helping whatever, but it's like the dogs do more for me than I do for them.
Aw, and
Yeah.
so amazing for you to know that, like, to be able to
Yeah.
verbalize that and say, like, "This is something that I'm not willing to give up, like, this is
Yeah.
something that I need," is so, so good. Because sometimes it's hard to sometimes you feel selfish, like, when someone will say to me, like, "Oh, can you do this?" I'm like, "Yeah," and then something has to drop, and
Yeah.
usually it's something that's for me, right?
Yeah.
So, I think it's amazing that you can really say, like, "No, my thing that I'm doing is this, and I'm not letting it go."
Yeah.
It's amazing. I have one more fun question for you because I really do wanna know. The world of influencing comes with amazing perks and really fun,
Mhm.
unique experiences. What is, like, your all-time favorite experience that you've had,
Mhm.
um, in your time of influencing?
I'm trying to think. I feel like I have had a lot of, like, fun experiences and stuff like that. I always have fun at the like, if I've had, like, hosted hotel stays, like, those are
Oh,
really fun because I, like, bring someone with me and, like, I think, like, being able to, like, enjoy things like that with, like, people like, I brought, like, my sister-in-law with me for, like, a hotel stay, and, like, we left the kids with the husbands, and, like, we had a hotel stay, and it was, like, super fun, and we, like, got to go in the pool and stuff like that, so I think that was really cool.
so nice.
Um and then even, like, last year, like, going to a couple PR events and, like, being able to, like, literally get, like, all of the presents for my nieces and nephews for Christmas was, like, also super nice too.
Amazing. Yeah, and
Yeah.
getting to share that with people that you love.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. So
Yeah.
cool. Well, Sarah, usually I end with some rapid fire questions. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay, dream brand partnership.
Ooh, Disney. I wanna host a trip to Disney.
Yes, that would be amazing. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Ooh, salty or savory?
It depends, but I think savory.
And favorite TV show?
Oh, right now, we always love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We'll rotate between, like, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Superstore, How I Met Your Mother, like, a few of those, like, it's good, like, comfort shows. But
Yeah.
right now I'm binging Law& and Order SVU.
Oh, I've never watched.
It's good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today,
Thanks
Sarah.
for having me,
Where
it's so fun.
Of course, yes, and where can people find you and connect with you?
On Instagram and TikTok, I'm under Blonde Hanes. And then, yeah, I'm always happy to chat. My DMs are always open. Yeah, come and hang out. I have no filter. So it's always entertaining.
It is always entertaining, and then
Good
you can get
content and no filter in the
amazing
stories.
yeah, and you can get amazing style advice, so I love
Yeah.
it. Well,
And
thank you again.
thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Your Cup of Joy. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation as much as I did. And if this episode resonated with you, or if you've been loving this show, I'd really appreciate it if you could take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you are listening. Your support helps the podcast grow, it helps it reach more people, and it means the absolute world to me. So keep filling your cup with joy, and I will see you next week.